Okay, we're live. Hey, let's see if we can get some people to join us at 4:21 in the afternoon on a Tuesday in Montana. There we
Yeah,
go. We got some people.
here we go. Look
Hey,
at that,
guys.
rocking and rolling. It's all good.
I love that. It's so fun to see like all the names pop up. That's really fun. Okay, so
True.
welcome to Grounded with John Tester and Maritza Georgia. We wanted to get in a little Substack live on this Tuesday afternoon to tell you some very exciting news. In addition to Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce getting engaged, you have some big news, Senator.
A day came that I never ever thought would come, and that is I finished harvest. Yeah, who knew? 3 weeks ago, when the
Congratulations.
roads were underwater, who knew that I would ever come to a point where I could say we're done harvesting in 2025. Now we got all sorts of other work to do, but we won't talk about that. Yeah,
Well, I don't know if I've ever heard you as jubilant as I
yeah,
did on the phone about 40 minutes ago when you said the harvest is over.
yeah. That's it. Done. It's in the bin. Now we got to move it around because that's some wet wheat, but that's all right. Yeah, it's all good.
That was
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
my excitement level, I have to say, as a self-described Swiftie. That was my
yeah.
excitement level over the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce news today.
It's good. And then when I was out on the combine working hard trying to feed the world, you were freelancing, right?
Yeah, I do some projects. I do all kinds of projects here and there,
Uh,
you gotta pay the
you-
bills.
yeah, you did a project with an outfit called Vote Mama, right?
Oh, well yes, that's right. We recorded this episode last week. I had to do it solo because Senator Tester was out on the combine, like you said. He's
Yeah,
paying his bills, feeding the world. And so we did this interview with Vote Mama's CEO and founder, Luba Gretchen Shirley. And we've really talked so much about women in politics, women's issues right now. There are certainly a lot of them, a lot that a lot of women I know are concerned about, but not just women, men too, because right, we all have women in our lives, women that we love, and women's issues are men's issues too. So we talk about a lot of the barriers for parents, both moms and dads, of young kids in politics, and ways that Vote Mama has worked to remove those barriers. And they're really just getting started. So we will drop that episode here later tonight. But we thought there was enough news in the world for us to just hop on here now that the harvest is over, go over some headlines with you folks. What do you think, Senator?
well, I think it's good. But before we get to the headlines, did you talk about the fact that Montana, the great state of Montana, sent the first woman to Congress? Did you talk about that?
See, this is why I needed you.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. Well, that's okay.
Oh
It'll give us a
my.
reason to talk to her
I
again. Okay.
I can't believe I forgot that. Yes, Jeanette Rankin, the first woman in Congress, the first woman in Congress from the great state of Montana. I can't even believe that I didn't bring that up with her. I was too laser focused on the questions I had. But see, this is why you can't skip. This is why you
Yeah.
can't skip an episode, Senator.
Well, I skipped, and mistakes were made. All right. Anyway, what do you want to talk about?
Mis-
Headlines.
Mistakes. Okay. So Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are engaged, yes. And while the president said he wishes them a lot of luck when asked about it today, it's the other comments he's making that we want to talk about here with you guys. In a cabinet meeting this week, he said, many people seem to want a dictator. And then again today, when asked to clarify that, he said, quote, many people, or I'm sorry, the line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime. So a lot of people say, if that's the case, I'd rather have a dictator. End quote. So this all comes, as critics call him, an authoritarian, of course, after now arming federal troops in D.C., threatening to send them to other cities like Chicago. I've seen a lot of pictures from my friends who live in D.C. with these, National Guard troops, like literally outside some of the nicest restaurants in D.C. And then when asked about it, Trump said he has the right to do anything he wants to do. Take it away.
Well, all I've got to say is when you got a Congress that's AWOL, yeah, he's probably right. until Congress pulls their head out of their ass and starts having hearings and having questions and have accountability. This is where we're at. And I will tell you, the only person that I know of that wants a dictator in this country may be the person who says everybody wants a dictator. The bottom line here is that this is really bad. And now he's actually talking about what everybody was talking about happening, and everybody's saying, don't worry about it. We've got a democracy. Everything's solid. Look, he's wanted to be like Putin. He's wanted to be like Xi. These people are heroes to him, and this is what he wants. This is where he wants to take this country, and he's doing it. And he's doing it in a lot of other ways too, like taking 10% of Intel. That's communism. Taking 15% of Nvidia to be able to sell chips into China. That is communism, folks. That is what I was warned about my whole life. And now we got a president that's doing freely, and Congress isn't doing a fucking thing about it. This is crazy. This is just crazy. And to talk about he can be a dictator if he stops crime. What about the crime in the Republican towns? Doesn't seem to be too worried about that. So I guess people are going to have to start migrating to Democratic towns where crime is lower.
Yeah, I know. I have so many questions about that. I'm glad you brought up the Intel thing, the 10%, because I forgot to include that in our list of headlines to go over. But it's a huge deal, and a lot of people are saying, "What the heck is this? What is this? This isn't what our country does."
Yeah, I mean, this isn't what our country does. This is not what our country's about. But as we had the fellow who graduated from the same high school you did that talked about this guy has a boot joint from the East, not the West. I'm talking about the President of the United States. And this is another case of that. And this stuff continues to happen bit by bit, domino by domino. And nobody is there to stop him. And the people that should be doing it are the courts and especially Congress. But Congress is shaking in their boots. I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, when the book closes on the folks who are serving in Congress right now, and they're thinking about what in their life happened, and they think back on they had an ability to hold people accountable, to provide the checks and balances our forefathers set up in the Constitution, and they failed to do it. I don't know that's going to make you feel good if those are your last days.
The guy who went to my high school, I'll just say his name because it's three-time Pulitzer Prize winning New York Times columnist Tom Friedman. So I'll just
I,
plug
I,
that. That
I
episode
was
is
going to
out,
do
and it's
that.
a really good episode.
Who, by the way, gave a hell of a podcast. I'll say that. I'll say that. Even though he went to Yale,
Uh,
you know, we won't get
yeah,
into the
and
kind of people we've produced at Big Sandy High. We won't do that, but we'll let you go ahead.
even though your friend sent a very compelling email about why Big Sandy's better than St. Louis Park, and it gave me a lot of joy and a lot of laughs. Yeah, I mean, in that podcast, you had the pride of St. Louis Park, Tom Friedman, and the shame of St. Louis Park, me. Just kidding. George in Virginia writes that he's been wondering where we've been. So we're back, George. Thanks for joining us here on Substack Live. Okay, next headline. On Monday night, Trump said he's firing Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. Of course, this would be unprecedented. He says she made false statements on mortgage applications. I don't have to tell you, right in the middle of his public temper tantrum that he's been having over interest rates and his constant attacks on the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, for not lowering interest rates. But if we break it down even more, last week, the guy who oversees Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the mortgage giants, he sent a letter to the attorney general accusing Lisa Cook of fraud. He says that she claimed two primary residents to get better mortgage terms. Now, Cook responded by saying she's not stepping down. In a statement, she said President Trump purported to fire me for cause when no cause exists under the law, and he has no authority to do so. I will not resign. Her lawyer says they will sue. This legal battle could go all the way to the Supreme Court.
So here's my perspective. First of all, number one perspective, you do not want to politicize the Fed. The Fed needs to be independent. Once it becomes politicized, all bets are off. And so if this is what this is about, no. If Lisa Cook lied on her application, she needs to be held accountable for that, whether that's in terms of resigning from the Fed or whether that's something else. If in fact she lied, intentionally lied on the applications, that's not a good thing, and she needs to be held accountable. But I don't think this has anything to do with that. By the way, she needs a due process too, by the way, something that has been thrown out the window on a lot of these accusations. People can't prove that they're not guilty. They're not innocent until proven guilty. Instead, the president comes out and makes the accusations, and there's an assumption of guilt. Due process would allow folks to make sure they're innocent before proven guilty. That aside, the president has been trying to control the Fed since his first term. It would be a big mistake. And my question is this: where's the business community? Because the business community knows if you politicize the Fed, this is a bad, bad thing for our financial markets in this country. It makes us, really, really in a situation where we could lose the reserve currency very, very quickly. And there isn't the stability to the Federal Reserve, which is a bank, by the way, separate from the government. Although we do confirm the members of the board.
Something that always causes me to scratch my head when this stuff comes out, like the accusations, whether it's from the president himself or members of his cabinet. I go back to journalism school where I would have failed an assignment if I didn't use the word allegedly or, basically attributed it to some kind of investigative report. And even in newsrooms, I mean, you can't just go on the news and say, she did this, she lied about this. You have to attribute it. And so I always wonder how the president can just do that so willy-nilly and name people by name. But
let me refer you to a decision the Supreme Court made that said the president can do any damn thing he wants, and there's no guilt. He
That's
lives
right.
under different terms,
That's right.
by the way, than everybody else in the United States. He shouldn't, but because of a real bad Supreme Court decision, and I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but this is where we're at today. The president can literally do anything he wants without any sort of accountability. Congress could fix
It's been a
some of
while
it.
since we.
Congress could fix some of this. Go ahead.
Okay. It's been a while since we talked about Doge, but a whistleblower filed a new complaint saying that Doge put hundreds of millions of Americans' personal data on a vulnerable server, basically like in a cloud environment, that the complaint says circumvents any oversight. The data includes social security numbers. Now, this complaint was filed by the chief data officer for the Social Security Administration. It accuses Doge of violating laws, rules and regulations, abuse of authority, gross mismanagement, and creating what it calls a substantial threat to public health and safety.
It's very, very bad, very dangerous. We value our privacy in this country, and this is a violation of that. It's what happens when you have people given carte blanche to do any damn thing they want in these agencies without any oversight, without any accountability. And quite frankly, people will get these social security numbers and they will do bad things to people because they have a ability to do that. It's just real bad. I mean, look, the Signalgate, same kind of deal. Classified military information put on an unclassified platform. These people, they don't understand. They don't understand the sensitivity of a lot of this information, and they don't care. And that's a problem.
The last headline I have here to chat with you about today, the saga over the Maryland man who was wrongfully sent to an El Salvadorian prison continues. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who we talked about with your friend in a much earlier episode, he was freed last week in a case filed against him in Tennessee. So he went home. He was with his family for literally just a couple of days because then he showed up for a mandatory check-in on Monday at an ice field office in Baltimore. And then when he showed up there, he was again taken into custody. The Trump administration said he was going to be deported to Uganda. And on Monday, a judge said the Trump administration is absolutely forbidden from removing him from the US. That's just for now. I don't think we're seeing the end of this.
No, we're not. And once again, it's about due process. This would need to be happening and to give the guy his due process. And if he's guilty of what he's accused of, then the appropriate punishment needs to be laid down. But there's no due process here. It's just the administration, the president saying, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do. And this could happen to anybody. And that's why it's scary. Yep. Chris Van Hollen
Yeah.
talked eloquently about his trip down to El Salvador and visiting with him down there. And that has been, I think that was in the spring. That was probably in April or May that we had that conversation.
Yeah. And I mean, the White House even put out, do you remember the old Obama Hope posters? And
Yeah.
I even interviewed the artist who made that one time. And they put out kind of a mocked up version of that with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and it says MS-13 on it. Remember they falsely said that he had MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles, and that was literally there was a whole big fight in the Oval Office or disagreement with the president and Terry Moran before he got axed from ABC. I mean, this has been a long, ongoing thing, but I think they just continue to go after this one guy. It's quite something to watch.
Let him plead his case in court. This has never happened. He's been accused and shipped out. And that's not how this is supposed to work. And if he came to the country illegally, fine, that's a crime. That doesn't mean he loses all of his rights as a human being, for God's sakes, in this country. We're better than that. We're better than that.
Okay, my last thing before I let you go, have you remember all the calls both during the Biden administration and then after, when we've done kind of this postmortem on what happened and why people didn't step up and talk about the president's health?
Yeah.
Okay. So, have you seen these images of the president's hand, President Trump's hand, and the concealer, and then he didn't put the concealer on and there's like a big bruise on his hand?
No, I have not. I have not seen it.
Oh, okay. I gotta send you this. So he's like in images, he has this huge patch of what looks like makeup concealer on his hands, and it doesn't quite match his skin. And shout out to all my hair and makeup artists who've helped me with matching over the years. But then yesterday in the meeting, he was kind of like hiding his hand, and then he put it up, and there was a huge black bruise on it, like very, very large.
I mean, my mom passed away in 2009. And the truth is that when you get older, she bruised very, very easily. She was 89. And if you're 89 years old, you're allowed to bruise, is my book. But yeah, I mean, it's part of getting old. You just bruise a lot quicker. Your skin gets thinner. At least in my family's case, it does. You bruise easier.
There's a lot of speculation though, like if he's getting injections, remember that vein issue he's having or what, and people are saying you should disclose this.
That would definitely cause bruising, and yeah. But what can I say? There was a lot brought up about Biden, and there probably should be a lot brought up about this president too.
All right. Well, that's all I have for you today. Do you want to tell me what's on your hat? I have bad internet, so I can't even see your hat very well.
So I call this my redundant hat. It's a crew cut that normally I wear a hat on a crew cut that's a crew cut. So it's a redundant hat, Like I say,
where did you get that?
This was given out about a year ago at the conservation voters thing when I was running. So yeah.
It's your haircut.
This hat is almost better than this hat. Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, but I think it's a great hat of redundancy, because normally I don't, my hair is getting long now, so I don't have it in the crew cut, but normally you gotta, a crew cut hat and a crew cut.
It's called a crew cut or a flat top. I thought it was called a flat top.
Whatever you want. I mean, whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that
anyway,
is all we have for you today, folks.
It's good to be done with harvest. Now we can move on to our next set of jobs, and appreciate everybody joining and listening to us.
Before we have Vote Mama coming out tonight. I have to go to a thing at my son's school first, and then I'll get it posted. But on Friday, we are talking to Dr. Michael Osterholm. This is a epidemiologist from the University of Minnesota. He is very well known. He's highly respected in his field, and he's been pretty outspoken about a lot of the stuff happening with Health and Human Services and cuts to vaccine funding and all of that. So we are going to talk to him. We would love if you have any questions that you'd like us to ask him or things you want us to talk to him about regarding public health in any space. Let us know. Shoot us a message.
Yeah, it'll be a good conversation. And once again, a Minnesotan, a professor at the University of Minnesota, but that's okay. We'll overlook that. Because I'm sure he's a good dude. But look, all this stuff that's going on with research, particularly vaccine research, especially when it comes to things like pandemic or cancers or any of those things, man, you want to talk about not making America great. Holy shit. That's exactly what that's doing. So,
Well, and there is some new reporting out about the possibility that the Trump administration might be looking to ban the COVID-19 vaccine. So we'll talk to him about that reporting too. If you have anything else.
Considering it probably literally saved his life, that wouldn't be a smart thing to do. But whatever.
Well, and the big question mark I have is that was under his administration. It wasn't Operation Warp Speed.
Correct.
That was his.
Correct. That's correct.
His deal.
Under his administration. Yeah. Which, by the way, was good work.
We will hash it out.
Take credit for it. Good work. I haven't had COVID because of that vaccine. It's a good thing.
You've never had COVID? Never?
Never had it. Never had it. And my wife was going through chemo. It was scary as hell, but never got it. And I think it's because of that vaccine. It works.
Yeah.
It does.
Good. It does.
I got all sorts of
I
got all sorts of anti-vax buddies that said, "Hey, that vaccine doesn't work." They got COVID. And it wasn't a pre-site, but what the hell?
All right. Well, we want to thank everybody for joining us today. We will release this episode. We'll chat again on Friday with Dr. Michael Osterholm. And that's all we have.
Tally-ho.